We're going to go with try number 3. I think I at least got a microphone this morning, and it went back to Lafayette Live. Let's Talk Lafayette page. And I don't know if anybody's even going to find me today because I tried 3 different times. I it keeps kicking me into a different portion of the studio when I use an OBS, and when I try to go over and go onto my regular page, my Burden on Society page, and run it, it won't let me do it because I was going to run through there. I'm going to switch everything over to the Burden on Society page here shortly, but I could never get a live button anywhere. So I just came back to over here for the time being. I don't even know what's running. Actually, I do know what's running. I'm just back to a basic screen, which is fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I can't do all the fancy stuff that I was doing before. So let's see what happens. Well, I'm on. I know that much. I know there's noise out there going out to the world. I'll do the best I can. I'm your meteorologist, Bryan Burden, trying to figure out all the ins and outs of not only just weather, but how to run a live shot on YouTube via a channel that wants stream and all this other stuff through OBS, but now all of a sudden it won't talk and give me a chance to go live. I haven't figured it out. So by I come back to here and it gives me a live button immediately and tells me where to go. And the other one's encoded and all this other stuff. So maybe somebody out there could help me out with this, because the only problem I see doing it this way is that I can't go right to the maps. I have to kind of go back and forth. So you're following me as I go to each website through that. That's what I see as the only real problem with this kind of thing. So, but man, did it not turn cold overnight, Lafayette? What are we talking about, right? It turned cold overnight. And okay, so 30 isn't that cold, but we were getting 60s, even 70s, right? I think we got close to the record on that one day. Did it hit 81? I never did find out about that. I'll go back and look at that here in a little bit, and we'll try to see some of that pretty soon here. But generally speaking, it's been a very nice warm week or so, and everybody's enjoyed it. And then boom, here it is, 28, 30 degrees this morning, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, I'm freezing to death. Please help me, Bryan. I can't help you. I just tell you what's going to happen. If I could dictate what was going on and actually do it, then we would have some money flowing, would we not? All right, let's see what we can find out. We're going to share some of the charts this morning. We'll go straight to the MSN charts. It just gives you a good idea of what the temperature is right now, where it's going to be, what the model thinks we'll get up to, back up to 47 today. Look at this, 54 tomorrow, 42. Then we're back up near 70 on Sunday, crashes back down on Monday. Very, I haven't even had a chance to look at the maps because I've been fighting this computer trying to figure all this stuff out. And I'm going to have to do some more test runs, I think, for sure, to get it to work right. But back to another subject, which is weather, which is what you came here for. Good news. Look at this, 6 miles an hour for your wind speed right now. Enjoy that, because it's going to get windy over the next couple of days. We talked about it yesterday, the wind showing up, coming out of the plains, and only one model did not show up, but the others did. So let's see what happens when we start looking at those maps, because I'm looking at them with you also. We knew it was going to be a pretty decent today weather-wise, right? No real bad problems. Let's see what happened yesterday, though. We got all the way up to, boom, what was it the other day? We got up to 75 the other day, and that day officially was 77 degrees. We did not hit 81 officially at the airport, at least based on this, okay? So today, they're saying 48 with the average high of 49, and your normal daily low is 30, and that's where we are. So, bam, normal weather. This is normal spring weather for early March. We're pretty close to right where we're supposed to be. There we go, 31. I know it said 30 just about 15 minutes ago, so it has updated. We must have got down to right around 30 all over the place, and it does look like we're going to struggle with some with weather, but not what you would think. I know right now you're thinking, hey, is there any kind of snowstorms coming? Are we getting thunderstorms? It's that time of the year when we can worry about both, and we do, and we are looking into it. But wind is going to be a big deal. Tie everything down. Make sure everything's tied down and everything it has its place so that it doesn't blow around. Wouldn't it be amazing? We watched one of those doctor shows and they had a windstorm and things were going through people and all kinds of stuff. But that's what we're going to be seeing. And there is a wind advisory now in effect. Let me see if I can pop this thing up here and show it to you guys right here. Hopefully you can see this, because if I change it, it'll go, if I click on it, it will go to a different page. And then I will have to switch out and switch back. Let's just do that. Let's do that. We'll switch out. Boom. Live stream changes. All right. So I'm back out. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Now we go back in, and I tell it I want to go to that second one, which I think is this one. Nope, it's this one. There we go. Share. Now we come back out, and we're good to go. Hey, what's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today? Good to see you again. It's kind of like deja vu that we just saw each other. All right, here we go. Wind advisory in effect for tomorrow. 5 o'clock tomorrow in the morning until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We are in a wind advisory, southwest winds 20 to 30 miles an hour, gusts to 50 miles an hour expected. Portions of basically all the entire state right now is the way it looks. Gusty winds will blow around unsecured objects, trees, limbs, things like that. Strongest winds will be across north central Indiana. Did you hear that? North central Indiana. So that would be pretty much us. Winds this strong can make driving difficult, especially for high profile vehicles too. Something to keep in mind there on that front. So let's dive into it. We know it's 31 out now. It's calm. It seems pretty good. Things aren't too bad. Let's dive right into where we're going to be going with everything this morning. And first off, we got to go. Let's go look at the street cams out there. Let's see what's going on in town first. Let's just look in town. Here we are at the mall. Look at the nice little sunshine, dry roads. Everything looks really nice, but we don't get to see anything for an actual, we don't get to see what's happening out in the sky, because this one's pointed down at the ground. That's what I was looking for. So let's go up into West Lafayette. Oh, nice sunshine too. Don't see a cloud in the sky. Looking pretty good. So that means our satellite's probably going to look like that too, right? All right, so let's take a quick look up north. Oh, what's the Cameron Wolcott looking like? There we go. 231 right there, and 24 as it comes into 65. And I can see some clouds off on the distance, way out on the distance. That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on, right? All right, let's come back down to Lafayette. Here we are at 43. Very nice and sunny there, looking really good. Man, these maps are really nice that you can get into these so easily. Down to the Dayton exit, blue skies, nothing on the horizon there. That is looking towards the south, I believe. Yes, looking towards the south on that picture. And then let's get into one more. Let's go way down to Frankfurt real quick. Let's see how it's looking down there. Let's see if we can catch the oh yeah, very nice. Still some flooding in some of the fields, though. Remember, we noticed that yesterday down here because they had a bit more snow. The last snowstorm where we just got kind of that dusting and that annoyance where, not much. They got a couple inches down there, and a lot of that was still kind of creating a soggy soil. And now look at, we have standing water in some of the fields in places. So that's something to keep in mind definitely for us over the next few weeks. Long as we keep getting systems with some gap in between, we won't be too bad. When we get these systems sort of bang, 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 we start to have problems with a lot of the fields out there. That is for sure. All right, so let's go to our regular source. Let's go to our the College of DuPage page that I like to use so much. Hopefully, some of you have started to put it into your phone so you can take a look at things if you want to. I'm going to put some mapping on here real quick for us. I'm going to put the U.S. interstates. I'm going to put counties on there. And the first thing I notice is the big old storm has moved off towards the east. All right, that storm encompassed almost the entire half of the United States, basically from the Rocky Mountains over. So we'll call it 2/3 of the United States. It affected some way or another, and I don't see much for cloud cover there. Let's switch it over to the IR since we're still early in the morning. There's the IR. Let's see how the IR runs, and you know what's going to happen. You're just going to see this system move off. All right, and then we have a few clouds coming off Lake Michigan, it looks like, and some high cirrus clouds way out to the northwest, which there are maybe possible to see depending on the height of them. Maybe that shot we saw up there on north up near Wolcott. It's either these clouds that picked up you could see on there, or some of these way off to the northwest. Just hard to tell. These here are a bit lower. I don't think we're quite seeing those as of right now. Let's get in a little closer, see what we're seeing. Here's Lafayette right here. There's those clouds coming off the lake, kind of coming across the lake more than anything else. These no rain or snow, I would think, in any of this, but there is the possibility. Look at a few clouds up near Rensselaer. That's exactly what we were seeing, right? So that Wolcott camera was picking these clouds up right here pretty easily. Then you got a lot of high cirrus back out to the west. Really, not much to worry about for us on this front at all. It looks like. I don't even see a reason. Well, let's go back to the one visual that I like to go to, the day cloud phase, and get the last picture, because the last picture just starting to get some blue ground, just a little bit. This one is enhanced. It shows some, instead of the ground being greens and colors I cannot pick up very well, I make it blue and it's enhanced that way. And it shows the higher clouds pretty easy. But the snow just has a little blue tinge to it. But for some reason, I pick it up a little bit easier. And that's me. I'm the forecaster. I get to do those kind of things. All right. So what else do we got at College View page? Well, let's get into the weather data, go into their numerical forecast. We're going to go into the HER, and we're about halfway done with the 12Z run. So let's take a look at this, at the 12Z run. We're going to first look at the precipitation on there, and there isn't going to be anything, guys. It's going to be quiet, right? Here's your system moving off towards the east, if you can see that. Hopefully you're able to see that. And it's at the bottom of the picture there on the bottom right. We see that all the precipitation is moved off to the east and is moving that direction, and we've kind of got high pressure in control. Now the high is a bit farther south, I can see down here, than it showed yesterday. I think yesterday it had it a little more here, but you can see the ridging coming up from it. Okay, so when we get these turns in the atmosphere around a high, we call it ridging, right? And then when we get it around a low, these troughs, we call these troughs. So troughs and ridging. So that's why you'll hear forecasters call that. And it's a push of the atmosphere pushing up into that area. And same thing here, it's kind of dropping in. So highs spin out, they spin clockwise, and everything moves away from the center. All right. Lows spin counterclockwise, right? But everything tries to spin into the center because it's drawing everything in. All right. And then when it gets to the end, it has no place to go. So it goes up. When it goes up, it creates clouds, moisture, that kind of thing. Where highs spin out and away, they push everything away from it. Usually, generally speaking, that's how that works out. So here we are. We're going a few days in advance. Boom, 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 boom. We're moving along time frame. Here we are tomorrow morning. Now here's where we're going to get some differences, right? Look at this. By tomorrow morning, it brushes this little shot of rain right by us. Here we are at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then 7, then 8, and then 9, and then it's gone, right? Okay, you say, well, that's no big deal, Brian. What's that? But take a look at the wind behind this thing right here. So remember, we said counterclockwise, right? Counterclockwise for your low pressure system, which is now at this point up over the UP and northern Michigan, right? And look at all this wind behind it. All these real tight lines together are wind barbs, okay? And what you'll see with those is exactly big, strong winds where, like out here, there's only one or two of them. There's hardly no wind. But here you have lots and lots of wind around this system. And sure enough, you go out just a couple patterns, where does it push it? Pushes it right into northern Indiana, and it gets stronger as the day goes on. So, and all the models kind of show this. What I want to get back to real quick is here, this little shot of precipitation right there. When you put it in the European model, changed on me precipitation wise. There we go. You notice there's more precipitation with it. Now, I really kind of only count the dark on this as being the actual really best chances for any rain. And this is very high and, less chance for it on the lighter blue. But it does rush through us during that time frame tomorrow morning, between about 5 and 8 or so. That time you're heading off to work, a lot of you, if you're not at work today, or if you're getting the kids up and you're getting ready for school. But it also shows big, strong winds behind the system pushing through. And then that's going to be a day tomorrow where it's really windy all day after that system kind of pushes through. And this one actually starts to push a little bit of rain. Oh, well, what is this? This is Saturday night into Sunday morning that this comes in. But one at the end of the HER on the other one, it really didn't show it much. So this is a hit and miss variety here on this Saturday night into Sunday morning. We'll see if something pops off of that. But then now we have your daddy storm right here coming in. on Sunday night. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. This is your daddy storm. Low pressure here, cold front going out, big warm front out in front of the system. You got trough behind it that's just, it's creating its own moisture too, and uplift. And then boom, the storm comes in. The low goes almost right over Lafayette, which is right there. All right. And this is, let's move this just a little bit. Lafayette being right there. All right. So there's Lafayette. This is Sunday night. Right. Well, yeah, Sunday night at 11 o'clock. All right. So right before midnight. All right. Then here we are just after midnight. And remember, now the timing is slowed just a little bit. This was supposed to be in here around 6 to 9 yesterday, if I remember right, and it was on us. Now we're into that time frame like we had the other night, and you can see there's going to be thunderstorms involved in here. These deep, dark red that pops up in the middle of this are probably going to be thunderstorm activity. But this is 3 now, 4, 2 in the morning. There we go. I'll get the timing straight on the new time change. Now we're 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's kind of pushed through, but there's secondary showers behind it. Your threat of any severe weather is gone, but also look at the isobars are very tight again. So we are in for some windy conditions over the next week, it looks like. And look at that. We'll be looking at gusts if we can, and speeds there too on that as it goes through here in a little bit, because we'll get really focused on the wind in a little while. But that system goes through, and then Monday and Tuesday we kind of clear out. Right here we are Wednesday. Kind of looks like a stingray coming at us, but that is that is our Alberta Clipper coming out of the northwest. And as the Clipper kind of goes through, it just washes out, and then there's not much through the rest of the week. So most of the week next week is quiet weather-wise, with no big storms after the Sunday night into Monday storm system. There's something comes through way out on the Monday, and then we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop looking that far out. Let's get back to where we are wind-wise. Let's go back to the HER real quick here. Well, temps. We want to see temps, right? Now let's zoom in. We're going to zoom in a little bit closer now on this. For the winds and the temps, we'll get in close. All right, so here's the HER 15Z. All right, so this is 11 o'clock this morning. All right, what are we now? We're 9:28. So let's go back one. Bam. There we go. We got it. I think the run is almost finished. Let's see. The 12Z's at 62%, so that should give us some pretty good data on that. And it shows us right now at 14Z, which is 10 o'clock, which is just a half hour out, 34. We knew we were 31, and that's what it showed at 9 o'clock, so pretty good. 34. Then we're going to warm up. Now, with the sunshine, remember, I always tack on a few degrees with the sunshine. Let's see what happens with the model. The model yesterday was showing like 43 to 45. Today, picking up, still showing 44. Ooh, Bryan, let's go with that 47. I kind of like that idea. We're going to tack a little bit on there with the sunshine. Now, could we hit 47 in between one of these? Maybe that's what it's trying to indicate, but still 44. And then just kind of quiet. It's not too bad overnight. It says we're thinking to ourselves, hey, this is no big deal. Look at the warm pocket that the low has with us. We stay kind of steady overnight, and by midnight we're at 39. Then winds are out of the south, a nice steady, and we don't get below about 38, it looks like. Then we start to warm up in the morning just a little bit as that system comes barreling on through overnight, right? Maybe that slight chance for some of that rain there. We'll have to see. I think it's definitely going to be scattered, but look at the effects behind it. You can see the wind barbs are up to 30, 35 knots right here. When there's 3 long lines on the end, that means 30. When there's 3 long lines and a short line, that means 35, okay? And it's pointing towards where it's going. We work with frummies in the weather field. So when you see a wind barb, that's what you're looking at, all right? So that's where we'll be moving through, at least on that front. Let's go back to it again, and then let's hit the wind gusts, and let's see how it affects. Okay, well, this morning doesn't look bad. I mean, 14 knots, gust of 14. That said we had a steady wind at 6. That's about normal. And we pick up a little bit of wind today, and since it's chilly out, it's going to feel cold, right? And then you can see there's a little gap in between the winds that are coming and what we have today, right? And overnight, we start to die down a little bit, and we think, oh, Bryan, that weather guy doesn't know what he's talking about. There we go. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening, right? 8. There we go. 9. And the winds have died down to almost calm. You're getting ready to go to bed here, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Oh, there we go. Then the winds start picking up about 11. And then bam, about 12, we start to hear the the rustling outside. We're getting up to 21 for our gusts. Now that's about 25 miles an hour. So mainly after midnight. Right. So then we have that. Then we move along. Boom. There we are. 1 in the morning. And then 2. Lafayette is right here. We're at 22. Look at all the red that's coming across. There's nothing to stop the wind from shooting across Lake Michigan. So there's 51 miles an hour there. Woo, 51 knots is almost 60 miles an hour. You can see another pocket up to the northwest with that little low as it buzzes through. Now, we don't get a bunch, but you notice about 3, 4 in the morning, we start to get 31, 32, and then bam, we're into the 40s. And look at what's coming off to the northwest. You can see lots of areas with winds over 50 miles, even 60 miles an hour in many of these places for their wind gusts. And this is us at 4 in the morning tomorrow morning. Remember, they're saying from 8 on. So there's still going to be a quick little burst of wind where we see this at like 4 in the morning and you're like, oh, the wind, there's that burst that Bryan was talking about. Hopefully that's what you're thinking to yourself. And then it kind of busts through at 40, right, which is not quite criteria for their wind advisories or what they think of, but it stays up. And then at 8 o'clock, in comes the rest of it. And look how windy the state gets after that. All afternoon tomorrow, all during the day tomorrow, winds everywhere around the state, all the way back up into Wisconsin, into Iowa, all the way down through even southern Indiana. Looks like there's some 45, which will be 50-mile-an-hour winds potentially down there. And then we're kind of on the outstream, and then it kind of moves itself away. Now, the advisory goes away, yes, by about 8 o'clock tomorrow night, but we're still 35 knots, which is about 40 miles an hour for gusts. So the entire day tomorrow, very gusty, very windy. Good news here is, wow, look at the pocket in Ohio tomorrow afternoon. This is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. All right. When I'm in here squawking to you about how windy it is outside, it's going to be even worse in a couple places. And we'll be following that as we go through that system tomorrow morning. All right. So lots of waves coming off that. You've got a southwesterly wind here. You got a westerly wind component coming in here and a northwesterly wind component back here, all in the same area, kind of fighting for the same amount of space around that low as it passes off. So very windy conditions tomorrow for us, and then it dies away. But remember, we just talked about it. Looks like there may be a refresher. Let's go to the NAM and see what it says, and see what if it. I don't think it actually has winds. So we got to look at the wind barbs a little bit closer on this. All right. So let's go out to that time frame. The wind barbs there are showing 25 at the end of it. And what's the peak wind we see there on this? So the NAM doesn't think it's quite as bad, but it does show wind gusts, steady winds at like 25 to 30 knots, and then probably some gusts. And this is all the way through tomorrow afternoon into the evening. And then it shows the winds die down a little bit. Now, do they pick back up when the next system comes in on Sunday? Does this even go out that far? Well, you see the wind barb starting to tighten, right? We're starting to see that. This is in the morning on Sunday. Doesn't go out all the way to Sunday night, unfortunately. And then we see how it gets very warm on Sunday, and we're getting back to 25 knots again, 25. We see 25 all around. Lafayette's at 57 degrees late in the afternoon on Sunday. This would be about what is that? That's 2 o'clock, so it's not too late, but we're getting that southerly influence, 50s, 60s on Sunday. It looks like, and the wind barbs. Now, so let's take a look at the ECMF, the European model. And the European model still just showing 20s. It does show 25s close to us here on that would be Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday into the evening hours. It continues to bring that southerly flow into us with gusty conditions. And look at this. We right here are going to be southerly, yet you're going to go just 100 miles over, and it's almost due northerly. Look at this. You're not going to have to go very far. Remember what we're going to have. We're going to have that big swirl around the low as the low passes over us, and then right behind it is where all the big wind is, and then boom, here comes all that big wind, and this will be for Monday. So Monday, we're going to go through the same thing again. Big, strong, gusty winds. After the potential for some showers and thunderstorms, Sunday, late in the day into the evening, now it's starting to look at the timing, at least on the ECM WF, which is your European model for that date. And because of that, that's just the winds. We saw where everything was at. Let's look and see what the GFS says. The GFS says Same thing, it's bigger on the winds. It's showing 25 knots in our area, 62 in Lafayette. It's a little warmer. Still shows winds out of the due north and a very strong gradient on the backside. This is Monday, right? Monday morning. Actually, it'd be 11 o'clock Sunday night. All right. Then we get the big push, the big drop in temperatures after the thunderstorms go through. And then here comes the big pocket of winds behind it. And it shows a steady, consistent 20 to 25 on most of those winds and a changing direction on that too. So here we are 4 in the morning on Monday morning, right? And then we are at 7, then there we are at like 10, there we are at 1 in the afternoon, and they're just strong gusty winds. But look at the temperature Monday afternoon. You notice it doesn't get above about 23 on Monday afternoon. So very cold temperatures. These are definitely below normal. Now it's starting to streak some zeros and some single digits into northern Illinois on here. Still shows us around 13 on Tuesday morning. Okay, that's the same as yesterday, or very close, I think. And then we move forward. We start to try to warm it up, and we get a little bit warmer as the week goes on. Next week, we're in the 40s and 30s and 40s. It looks like. It looks like somebody was able to find me. Hey, hey, hey. After my third try, good to see whoever's out there. Throw yourself in the chat real quick and just say hey, and then I'll keep moving forward as we're talking about some more warmth coming back warmer again into next week after the cold period for a few days. So lots of ups and downs in the spring, right? Look at this. This is next Saturday. You're talking pushing 80 degrees here in Lafayette next Saturday after we're going to be at 13 on Monday or Tuesday, right? So what a big temperature swing. We're talking almost 70 degrees. It may be 70 degrees in 1 week pretty easily. And then it stays pretty warm there for a little bit. Now we're out to Monday and Tuesday the following week. March 24th. Then we get into full Tuesday. It's a little colder. We bring back in some cold by next Wednesday, right? That's the Wednesday, the 25th, not this coming Wednesday, the following Wednesday. We're a little bit farther out there, all right, by that time frame. And then we move forward, and it just stays kind of chilly there for a while, all right? That's the GFS going all the way out to March 28th. And then it looks like right at the end there, after that little bit of cold spell towards the end of the month, it tries to bring back in some warmth there at the end. Is that a changing pattern in that time frame? We'll have to see on that. But right now, that's kind of what it looks like. And then let's check and see if there's any major storms here on the GFS. Except I'm gonna go out and look a little wider at it, and let's see what it's got for it. Precipitation, boom, boom, boom. Winter. All right, there we go. Precipitation type. All right, so here we are early on, right? This is what time is this? This is Thursday morning right now. All right, basically, and we're moving forward in 3-hour chunks. So every time you see the a screen change, it's about a 3-hour change. All right. And then there's that little bit of chunk of whatever's supposed to come through tonight. And it shows that there's potential there. You know, that's kind of goes by to the north. And then there's your little shot of rain right there. Potential. You notice it goes farther south than us. So this is something we got to watch for tonight at, midnight or so. And then boom, it goes through. It doesn't really drag anything along with it, but you see the big pocket of wind behind the system here pretty easily. And then the GFS tomorrow during the day gets us rather windy too. We're missing the big wind. People up in Michigan are getting really, 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 really the big wind. We're just on the outer skirts of it, so it's going to be windy. It could be a lot worse. During the middle of the week, it kind of dies that little system down. We start to warm our trends up, and then here comes the big storm we're talking about for Sunday. Right, this is our Sunday night into Monday, and it's a little slower than it was yesterday. This is 11 o'clock at night, Sunday night going into Monday morning, but this is your daddy's storm right here, all right? This is a big one. You can see it wound up pretty well. It's got some tapping into the south, and it's got a little bit of everything with it, with snow on the backside potential. Let's see whether we got any snow accumulations in 24 hours. It does show a half an inch. Now, none of that would stick because the ground's too warm. I would think most of that, unless it came down such fast, it would overwhelm it. But right now, it doesn't look like it would do that. But we'll watch for that. That would be Monday morning, right? So now we're into Tuesday. Tuesday goes a quick clipper system in the middle of the week, and I think the European model kind of washed it out. But you notice this one tries to pick up There we go. Get the throw back. Tries to pick up some moisture from the south and show it that it's there. All right. And then it moves on and everything is good. All right. And then we're good throughout most of the week there. We just don't see any systems coming in, but we see a general pattern now coming from the southwest, which will warm us up immensely during that time frame. All right. So there you go. And then a big storm late in the week. This will be Tuesday, the following week already. Man, we're getting out there. Almost 2 weeks out. There's a big storm. That's what brings in the cold again real quick for a while, a couple days. And then right at the end of the system, we start to see the changes with the winds coming back out of the southwest and starting to warm us up. So that's a lot of weather. There's a lot of different things going on for us over the next couple of days. The HER is totally done now, I think, probably with the 12Z run. Let's see, 87%. That's good enough. That'll get us all the way pretty much out. Doesn't show us much as we look at it. We watch the system come by, and there it is. Just kind of brushes us tonight. What's the time frame on that? That is tomorrow morning at about I see that's 7 o'clock, right? So there you go, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. That little band of rain goes by before the winds kick in right behind it. Okay. So, hey, if I'm the National Weather Service, I probably would have put that thing out for like 6 in the morning instead of 8 in the morning. But to be specific, it didn't hit their criteria until about 8 in the morning, which is probably 50 miles an hour or close to that, right? Before they put out an advisory for wind for tomorrow. But it does look to be a rather windy day on tap tomorrow and all across the Midwest. Let's change it to the winds here and watch this. Wind gusts. Oh, look at that big pattern. The low is up here, all out in front of it, a big spot in front of it over near Toledo and back towards Fort Wayne, where they're sure enough, 60s are showing up on here. So that's 70 miles an hour, basically, when you're getting gusts of 62, 63 in there. And then back in the pocket back here, it's 55. Around us, we can see some spots of 46, 47 around us. That's just the initial time frame. Let's see how the day goes on. See how it spreads out. And we're getting no problems with gusty winds with this low. It's a pretty nasty one for wind as it looks right now. And we stay pretty windy most of the day. We start to drop off in the afternoon hours. Okay, so now we're talking here's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There's 2 o'clock basically. And yeah, 40. We're saying, hey, we're looking better. It'll be 30s and 40s still, which is your 40-mile-an-hour wind threshold, which is remember that you only need like 35 miles an hour for a tropical storm. So here we are. We're kind of having a tropical storm. We call it our windstorm for Lafayette, but it's really just an intense low pressure system going by. All right. And then it dies away as the day goes on and we get into Saturday. All right. And then by Saturday, we're down to light winds and we're like, what happened to the wind? And we're just worried about a little chilly morning and a nice afternoon setting up. And let's take a look at that kind of real fast temperature wise. Look at this. So here we are Saturday morning and it's chilly, right? But it should warm up pretty nicely that day, at least better than tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're still in the mid 40s, all right, on this. And it doesn't quite go out far enough to give us some temperatures for how cold it might get on Saturday morning. But the NAM says for that time frame, we're going to be around 30 in the morning. This is 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. Then we drop to like, upper 20s to right around 30. A little bit more quiet with the temperature decrease. And then it only gets us up to mid to upper 40s on Saturday. I think we may actually hit 50 on Saturday. We'll have to see what goes on with that. And then Sunday, it comes in, the weather starts to come in. You see the temperatures just start to skyrocket before the system comes in as it pulls up all this moisture to the west, to the south of us. All the cold is diving down west of us. Look at that. So you remember Kansas, there were places in Kansas that are going to be like 95 next week. And here they are. They're going to be dropping into the single digits probably sometime in the next few days. So I remember this distinctly yesterday. And let's see if the let's see if the GFS shows it. Okay, so it shows the cold diving south, right? Let's see what the difference is. We know we could go through an 80-degree swing in the week. They might do that in a day in Kansas or so. So here they are. Look at this. They're down around 13, 15. There's a pocket of minuses like right there in South Dakota, -8. All right. Then there's the cold. And then later in the week, we start to get some warmth pushing back up to them. And look at that. They're back up to 70, 80. Not the 90s they were showing. Oh, there they are showing some. Now we're talking 85 in Kansas. And where it was below 0, it's 63 degrees now. So, woohoo! Man, we're gonna have some wild swings temperature-wise. I love spring. That's why you love spring as a weatherman, right? You get thunderstorms, you get snowstorms, you get windstorms, you get so much a difference. This is exactly spring is exactly where we come up with the words, uh, "What's the weather like in Indiana? Just wait 15 minutes." This is exactly what it's about the next month or so, actually, next few months, all right? So that's looking good on that front. Then I wanted to get into one more thing before I get out of here this morning, and my annoyances about the internet and trying to figure this out. I'll give you a heads up. I'm just trying to go over to my Burden on Society webpage and do everything through there. But it wants to give me numbers and won't let me go live without getting an encoder and some other things. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I get that hooked up? I tried to get it through OBS. If you know, let me know. There was no live button anywhere to go live. So I don't know if I went live or not. I may have gone live over there. Who knows? All right. I did want to cover Purdue sports real quick here. They got a big game tonight, right? First game of the Big Ten tournament. Let's take a look at that real quick as we're sitting here. And the boys, just for some numbers. It goes off at 6:30 tonight, our time. It is, I believe, on the Big Ten channel, and Robbie Hummel will be on the play-by-play for television with Kevin Kugler and Andy Katz. Oh, Andy Katz will be on there. And, of course, on radio, Purdue Global Radio Network with Rob Blackman and Bobby Rydell. Overall, Purdue's 23-8, and they finished the season 13-7 in the Big Ten. Not what a lot of us thought was going to happen. That being said, we didn't think the Big Ten was going to be as good as it is, and there are a lot of good teams in the Big Ten this year. All right, so quad one wins. Well, first off, we played more quad one teams than anybody else in the country. It'll be 17 after tonight. Okay, because the game tonight may drag that into a quad one because it's on a neutral court. Played more than that. Strength of schedule is number 8 in the country, and that will do a lot for seeding. They'll show that even though you're 23-8, you played a tough schedule. That makes it look a lot better. Now you're 23-8, and you play the 100th easiest schedule on the thing. You're going to be a 6 seed. All right, that's how that works. So the scene setter, it says here, starting what hoops to be. What hopes? I've put hoops in there. Starting what hopes to be a long March postseason run, the number 18 ranked Purdue Boilermakers head to the Windy City for the 2026 Big Ten tournament. All right, so that's where they're going to be going. Looking for their 3rd tournament title in school history. It shows a bunch of those numbers in there. Really don't want to get into that. It's a game against Nebraska, who beat Indiana pretty easily last night. Or not Nebraska, it's Northwestern. Sorry, just played Northwestern last week up at their place and beat them up at their place. But they got that guy on that team who went off pretty good, and he went off on Indiana last night too. So let's hope he doesn't do that against Purdue tonight, and they find a way to stop him. I cannot remember his name. I apologize to him right now. Sorry about that. But that's the guy they'll be playing. Braden Smith will be running the crew. They're going to tap it back out there with Fletch, TKR. I'm sure CJ Cox will be in the mix, and Clough will be on the other side next to TKR, and they'll be running the game up tonight. So head over and check that out if you get a chance. Let's see what the temperature is right now. It has changed to about 32. And as you can see, it is going for 47, even though we couldn't find more than 44 on the model. It does look like that's what's going to be happening. 56 tomorrow, but very windy. That's the trade-off when you get warmth. Now, not this kind of wind usually, but still windy. 42 on Saturday, warm, 67 on Sunday, and then the cold plunge starts Monday. There you go, 27 for your high with a low of 11. That will probably be more like Tuesday morning on that, but we'll see how that pans out over the next couple of days. And then lots of ups and downs. You go to the monthly map, and you'll see what we're talking about here. The monthly map kind of gives you an idea. This is what we went through already on the month. Look at that, 71, 75, 70, 77. So we've went through a nice warm period. 48 today, 51 tomorrow, 44. And then, am I on the right month? Yes, we're in March. And then it says 68 on Sunday, and then boom, bam, down to 26 to 11. And then it tries to slowly warm up during the week next week, stays very seasonable with our temperatures in the upper 40s for a while through most of the week. And there will be a cold push. That's what it's starting to hint at right now back here towards the end of the month. But that cold push by the end of March may only be some temperatures below freezing is what that could be. And you see 36s in there, and that's not out of the question for this time of the year. When you go to the end model, look at this. It shows the big drop here in a couple days and next week on Monday and Tuesday, and then it pops right back up, and then all the temperatures are slightly above normal for the end of the month and the rest of the month. And after this month, we're just kind of we've been up and warm for a while. Now we're going to get a quick little drop of warmth, and then bam, that drop on Monday. Then we're back into some warm temperatures. Just look at kind of the averages and look at the way the month has gone up, down, up, down. We're seeing this very typical spring like weather that has been in the forecast for us for a while. All right. So that's for me now. I'm going to pop back out, let you guys get out of here, let you get about your day and enjoy yourselves. It was great to talk to each everybody. Hey, Bill's in there. Oh, he's saying go Wildcats. All right, stop doing that. I rooted for your football team for the national championship. Just remember that. I rooted for you guys. You can root for us once in a while because it does look like Indiana may not actually make the NCAA tournament of NIT. All right. That pretty high paid squad you got there is going to the NIT. Just a thought process there. All right. Well, and we'll see what happens. All right. So he may root for my guys just for a little while because he knows he can't root for anybody else in the deal. I'm glad you were able to find this place, Bill. I tried to go back to my old website, or not my old website, but my other channel, Burden on Society, and start doing everything out of there. I couldn't get it to run right this morning, so I came back to here and got it out there. I'm glad you were able to find it. I am heading out. Going to be a very windy day up here. Hopefully, Bill was okay with the thunderstorms yesterday. He put Go Boilermakers on there. Yes, brother, we are in this thing together. Yes, when Indiana's playing the Purdue, you get to root for Indiana, and I get to root for Purdue. All right. But when Indiana's in the national championship and Purdue is not, I'm rooting for Indiana, brother. You got it. I believe I had something to do with that right here. The guns. The guns. Okay, hold on a sec. The guns. There we go. All right. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, 9 to 10. I'm only getting out early today to try to figure out what the problems were. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. See you, Bill. Have a great day, brother. Love you.